hallowed be thy name. S.D. Gordon has a little book, old book on prayer. And in this book, he tells the story of a 14-year-old boy who cut class for 3 days. And finally, on the 4th day, the teacher called, thought he was sick, and said, how's Stephen doing? And they said, what do you mean? Mom and Dad found out. I don't know how moms and dads find out. It worried me my whole life. And so they brought Stephen in. They said, Stephen, it's a terrible thing. You've cut class these 3 days. You know that, don't you? Yes, sir. But Stephen, more serious than you cutting class is you've lied about cutting class. He said, if you lie, you can't be trusted. And there's nothing worse in life than to run into a liar, because a liar just can't be trusted. And they said, Stephen, you understand that? Yes, sir. And Stephen, we're trying to figure out an appropriate punishment for you. You're 14. Your mom and I have decided for the next 3 nights, as you cut school for 3 days, you're going to spend, when you come home from school, all the time in the basement by yourself. You're going to sleep down there. You're going to eat down there. You're going to be in the basement for 3 days when you're at home, and 3 nights. I said, yes, sir. First night, Stephen goes down. Parents are trying to read, and the father keeps, I don't know why my eyes are so watery tonight. The mother's over there fidgeting around, picking up. And she says, I'm thinking about Stephen down in the basement. And I said, yeah. He said, I am too. They went to bed about 12 o'clock, tossing, tumbling. He says to her, are you awake? Husbands and wives understand that, don't you? You know when the other's awake. Are you awake? She said, yes. He said, I can't sleep thinking about Stephen. I wonder if he's frightened down there, sleeping in the basement. And she said, I'm doing the same thing. About 2:45, he woke up and sort of dozed off, and woke up and dozed off. And 2:45, he saw her turning and said, you awake? She said, I haven't been to sleep at all. He said, I'm going down to the basement and spend the night with Stephen. So he picked up his pillow and his blanket, went down the steps into the basement. Stephen was on his bed. He hadn't been to sleep. He could see he'd been crying. And the father went down and lay down by Steve and put his arm around him. And their tears mingled on each other's cheek. And he said, Stephen, your punishment stands. You're going to be down here these 3 days and 3 nights. But he said, Steve, I'm going to be down here with you. I'm going to be down here with you. God woke up one night, picked up his pillow, picked up his blanket, and said, I'm going down in the basement. I'm going down to the basement with all of those who are down in the basement. And I'm going to provide a way, not with a blanket and a pillow, but with a cross and 3 stakes. I'm going to identify with them on that cross. As they will die spiritually, I will die physically and take their punishment upon myself. The highest became the lowest, so that we who are the lowest in the basement may be elevated with a clean life to the highest. If you and I can really pray, hallowed be thy name. We know who God is, and we know who we are, worshipers. God is Abba Father. You and I are worshipers, and we celebrate the fact that he who was the highest came down to the lowest in the basement. That's all of us. So we will be forgiven and cleansed, and we can go up to the highest. Hallowed be thy name.